Hi College and Career Success, welcome to your week 2 assignment video. So I hope that you had a great first week and that if you are on any campus, you're finding your way around, if you're online only or a mix of online, that you are getting more familiarized with Brightspace and all of your courses. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the lessons area. And just a reminder, in that Start Here section, you do have that course welcome. You're always okay to go back and watch that again if you need to freshen up on where things are. The syllabus is located there, other kind of resources. And then, let's keep scrolling, underneath the lessons area, do have that student services assignment. There is a video that will walk you through how to register and where to get that information in terms of making sure that you register in time, what your options are. So check that out. You have until week 16, but I want to make sure that you're getting a jump on that early. All right, so week 1 is all done. It was nice to get in there and kind of learn about you all. I do want to let you know that, week 1 will reopen again toward the end of the semester. I always like to reopen weeks 1, 2, 3, 4 toward the end of the semester in case anyone registered late, had trouble navigating Brightspace. But I do, for the first, 3/4 of the semester, want you to focus on the week that is open. So there are approximately 75 of you in here, and that's also a little overwhelming for me the first chunk of the semester if I have multiple weeks going, multiple assignments. So 1 week at a time, but then at the end of the semester, once everyone is really adjusted and accustomed to Brightspace, then I will reopen previous weeks to let you make up any missing work from weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so we are in week 2. So you should see we're in the first chapter under week 2 videos. You're going to have a chapter 1 lecture video. That content is updated. You'll see a little bit of Blackboard because I recorded it in the spring, but it's still up to date. But week 2, real quick snapshot. You are in chapter 1, so I do ask that you engage with chapter 1 somehow, whether it is the lecture video I just talked about right there, whether it is in the materials folder, looking at the chapter 1 text link, looking at the slides, or a combination of any of or all those things. Just make sure that you are engaging and really honing in on the areas that you might need more attention to. So this is going to be a little similar to last week. You do have a discussion forum. You'll have a prompt that you have to respond to. So it is due by Wednesday for your weekly attendance, and then you'll have to respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. You have 2 chapter 1 assignments, so I'm going to go over those here in just a few moments, and then you have your first chapter quiz. So all of these are due Sunday along with responding to 2 classmates. So let's go ahead and take a look. As I scroll down the materials, you'll also see a couple quick little videos. These highlight the Disability Support Services and the military office. So if you wanted to know more about their services, if you could benefit from either or both of those, they just give little videos. You can see, I open it in a new link, it goes to, again, a couple minutes long. So I want to make sure at least you see those. All right, so week 2 assignments. Go ahead and hop in here. Here is your prompt for your chapter 1 discussion. So here is the prompt. What will completing a degree do for you in light of your dream job? What will earning a degree mean to you and your family? So just like last week, you need to have 150 words or more. So we're in the 2nd week. So I do start to pay more attention to your word count. So just make sure you're right around there. If you're significantly under, you will see a loss in those points. Your original post is due by Wednesday and then respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. So again, you're going to make sure that you're in there. Click that Start New Thread to get a new thread going, and you can just name it, week 2 discussion or chapter 1 discussion, and then post your response to that. So just think about your degree and how it relates to the job that you want after you graduate, and what does it mean to you, to your family, to your close people in your life. So that is the chapter 1 discussion. Again, post your original response by Wednesday, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. A response is, a follow-up question, a compare contrast to what you posted, at least a sentence or so in length. All right. From there, here are your chapter assignments. Chapter 1 assignment, here's your very first one. It's called Colleges and Expectations. For this, I'm going to say you can either go ahead and write these answers in the comment section, or you can create a Word doc and type it and answer these questions. Whatever kind of fits best. And I'm going to show you what the Dropbox looks like actually using the next assignment in just a few moments. But here's what you're doing. You're answering these questions, and it kind of depends on where you are. If you are currently in high school, you're just going to answer the questions as they're stated. So if you're a CCP student taking this class, you're going to answer these. How far away do you want to live from your hometown in terms of if you're going on to a different institution after this, or are you staying here maybe? Do you have to drive or fly? What extracurriculars are you interested in? What sports or clubs do you think you want to participate or continue in college? We have a lot of clubs here on our own campus under info for current students. We have a whole list of student clubs, so you could even check that out to see like, hey, I might be interested in joining this club at Stark State. 3, what size do you want to attend? You know, a larger school with a high student to teacher ratio, or a smaller one with a smaller, teacher to student ratio. And then create a list of 10 colleges or universities that you're interested in attending after high school. So kind of going through and listing, these are the places that I think I might want to go, and things that are going to kind of support my career goals. Again, you can add in the comment area the answers to these 4 questions, or you can type in a Word doc and submit it that way. If you are already a traditional college student, meaning you're not CCP, you can still answer these questions if you plan to go somewhere other than Stark State. I know the directions say like complete the assignment from the perspective of when you are in high school, but I want to make it more relevant. If you are going anywhere after Stark State, where do you want that to be? If you're not going anywhere after, what kind of role did location play in your decision to come to Stark State? You can answer this question regardless. What kind of extracurriculars are you interested in? And if you're not, you can tell me as well. Question 3, talk to me about the size of the college or university. What role did it play and how large Stark State is? If you're going somewhere after here, what role does size play there? And then depending on if you're going somewhere after Stark State or not, where are your options? What options are you looking at in terms of if you're going to get a 4-year degree, or maybe you're going to go get a master's or a degree after that? All right, so that is the first assignment, Chapter 1, the college expectations. The next assignment is called Differences Between High School and College. I am actually going to, let me go ahead and pull that up for you. So I was going to switch around real quick just to show you the student view, but I'm going to do that actually in the next one. Anyway, here's what this one looks like. It pulls up into this PDF that you can type right in. And so it gives you this column of like, here's what happens in high school. Now, how is college different? And so first one, you're given frequent tests over small amounts of material. Study guides are often provided for comprehensive exams. In college, how might that different? Maybe you're only given a midterm and a final. And sometimes that is how it is in some classes. And you may or may not get study guides. What is the difference between high school and college in terms of like extra credit? What is it in terms of communicating with your instructor? So whenever you are done, after you've typed in all of these, you want to make sure that you save it with your changes. Because if you save it without, it's just going to upload a very blank document to me. So save it with your changes somewhere on your device so that you can find it. And then you will go ahead and submit it to the Dropbox. And again, I'm going to show you the Dropbox in just a few moments. But that is that assignment. So the differences between high school and college. And our chapter does talk about this, but you can also use your own experience. And then the final assignment you have is the Chapter 1 quiz. This is going to open up into a Word doc. And this is your very first quiz. The directions are going to be the same for every single quiz that you take all semester in this class. 2 to 5 complete sentences. And a lot of these questions are multiple parts. So you're still responding in 2 to 5. I mean, if you have more to say, great. So question 1 says, knowing why you're in college is a part of motivation, especially when things get tough. What can you do now to design a plan to remember your purpose for attending college? Like, how are you going to keep yourself motivated, essentially, when things start to get a little rough? Question 2 talks about like transitions. You've gone from like middle school to high school to college. Maybe you were single to married, parent to grandparent, whatever it might be. Based on your previous experiences, how do you manage these changes? What goes well? What could you have done differently? And how can you use that to successfully transition to college? Maybe you've only been out of school for a year. Maybe you've been out for 10 years. Like, how can you use what you know and how you react to change to successfully transition to a college student? Question 3, if your first few grades in college are lower than expected, How can you move forward and consider these areas emotionally, academically, and intellectually? What can you do to move forward? Question 4 focuses on kind of what the last assignment was talking about, high school versus college, and how you might adjust those. How can you evaluate whether a student has successfully transitioned to college? Like, what are you looking for? And you might want to look at these things in the question right above it. How are they emotionally? How are they academically? How are they intellectually? And then finally, question 5 says several aspects of the textbook talk about self-awareness. Why do you think it's important to be self-aware? How will you use this to help your development of greater self-awareness? Okay, so again, answer each question, all parts, 2 to 5 sentences total. So if you can get all parts of like question 2 in 2 sentences, awesome. If you need a little bit more, go ahead and expand a little bit more. But to be able to submit these, I'm going to go ahead and go to student view so you can kind of see it from that component. Whenever you do a Dropbox assignment, whether it is this one or the quiz I was just talking about, you simply need to, let me get to the assignment itself. Here's the chapter 1 quiz. I'm going to go to the assignment. Let's say I already completed it. I'm simply going to scroll down. I'm going to click add a file. For me, it's on my computer. I'm going to hit upload, and then I'm going to find it somewhere. To me, I put it on my desktop, and I'm just going to use this one, even though it's not the right one for this. Just to demonstrate how to work the Dropbox. I'm going to click on whatever one I want to upload. I'm going to hit open. I'm going to wait till I see it right there, and then I'm going to hit add, and then you know it's right there. And then when you're ready, you can hit submit. Now, for that one that you're just talking about, how far do you want to travel, your list of 10 universities, instead of uploading it, if you don't want to upload a document, you can just do it right in the comment area. Answer those 4 questions right there. So you have that option for that assignment. Okay, so those are your 4 assignments, and I'm not going to submit that. I don't think it will let me anyway. And then let me go ahead and get back out of there. As a real quick recap, for week 2, I would like you to read chapter 1 is the basis of the content. So spend some time with chapter 1 material. Make sure you post your original response in the chapter 1 discussion forum that talks about like your dream job and how that will impact you and your family. Your chapter 1 assignment where you answer those 4 questions. And again, you can put them in a Word doc and upload it, or just answer the questions in the comment area. Complete that table, the differences between high school and college, which is this PDF right here. And then your chapter 1 quiz, make sure you answer all questions in 2 to 5 complete sentences. If you have any questions as you work this week, please feel free to reach out and let me know, and have a great week too.